always get nervous because I have to intro you.
Yeah, you do.
I'm like, oh shit. All right, let me get my thoughts on here. Episode 4. All right, ready to do this?
Look at you. You are a little nervous.
Yeah.
Bye, Tim.
It's fun. See you, Tim. All right, guys, welcome to the CrossFit Bangor Podcast, episode 4. I have the 2015 fittest woman in Maine and the owner of CrossFit Bangor with us, Mel. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for doing this with me.
Of course.
Awesome. So, been kind of making my way through our coaching staff, and I think this is going to be a really important one. And I always kind of start with your CrossFit story, but I think this is going to be fun because I get to ask you about CrossFit Bangor's story. So whichever one you want to start with, if you want to kind of flow in and out of both of them, I think they're kind of one and the same. Take it away. Where to start?
Well, I'll give you just a brief of where I was introduced to CrossFit. It was a fellow firefighter that said, you got to try this. You would love this. We did Filthy 50 in the YMCA gymnasium, and it took us I think it was 58 minutes or something crazy to do this workout.
Boy.
And he quit. So the last portion of that, if you remember, it's 50 burpees.
Yeah.
So he quit, and I kept going, and I was like, I love this shit.
This is it.
This is it.
That's so funny.
Before that, I did an hour of cardio and an hour of lifting every day.
Oh, wow.
So I'd always, I literally asked for a weight bench when I was 10. I've been lifting my whole life, but that right there was a huge transformation for me. And as I got more into CrossFit, teaching myself everything and getting better and better at it, I just watched my body change, and I was like, "Oh man, this is it. This is the way to work out."
Yeah.
So, and plus, it helped me so much with my job as a fireman, a lot. So it gave me more strengths than I had ever had before, and it was super noticeable for me as far as recovery and such. So, from there, I was the crazy girl at the YMCA that worked out by herself and did crazy things, and people would just kind of shake their head at me for a really long time. Of course, then I got some friends that decided to do it with me. Rachel Jenkins, throwing back some names there, and some others. And then slowly but surely, it made me want to start my own gym. So obviously there was a lot of years that passed in between that, because that would have been 2007. And we didn't open until 2011. So there was a long time where I was kind of doing solo CrossFit.
Just going rogue.
CrossFit at the firehouse, when I could and stuff, and all that kind of stuff. I did my first open, which consisted of videoing myself in the bays at the firehouse, trying to do double unders that I couldn't even do with the 5-finger toes. You remember those shoes?
Yeah,
totally
you
did
got
that.
those?
Oh, totally did.
I those too.
Right?
Yeah.
So you know you did.
Yeah.
And so I literally used coiled up hoses for that. It was so that I didn't have to hit the ground and on the metal weights and stuff.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Still have a video there
really
somewhere.
Cool.
And it makes me laugh because
we'll have to find that.
I know.
Have to find that.
I think I could do
podcast.
3 double unders in a row, and I was like, yes.
So wait, you didn't wake up like this?
I know.
You weren't born doing double unders and snatching 155?
I know, right? No, I was not. So, fast forward, some people know that my dad got sick fast while I was away for military training for my boom operator school. And from diagnosis to death, it was 31 days. So for anybody that knows me, that knocked my my feet out from me, if you will. And it was shortly thereafter, I started thinking to myself that I was like, life is so short. And that's when, the wheel started turning. I talked to Carl, and I'm like, I don't know, what do you think? You think I can do this? And search for a building, which was just absolutely impossible for what I could afford and all that kind of stuff. So ended up finding basically this little space that wasn't even a space to be rented. It was their storage for Weber.
Okay.
And Ray Coda was the guy that just we sat down and talked, and we clicked. And he was like, I think I can find you something. And he literally turned that storage space into a place where I could have my gym.
Perfect.
Dirt rent. I mean, so fair. Of course, even that point, it was a lot. But it was just, he really looked out for us. Helped me a lot. Kind of started, that was my first, probably my business mentors, how to be self, your worth and all that kind of stuff. And slowly but surely, a few people from the gym came over from the Y, and then people just started showing up.
CrossFit Bangor was born.
And yeah, so we started with a little, probably, I don't know, just a very small whiteboard, an average whiteboard that we'd, maybe put 10 names on in a day. We'd write everybody's name down. And then soon we had to turn the whiteboard lengthwise so that we could have more names.
Yeah.
And then the whiteboard had to get bigger, and so on and so forth. So, as you know, we moved from the South Street to the next place on Odland Road, which I remember being like, we'll never need anything bigger.
Right.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
This is all I'll ever need.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
So now we're here, and I shouldn't say the words to jinx us, but we are never moving again.
Right. This is it. We're
never.
Home. We're home.
So here we are. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot's happened since that first open in the firehouse. Let's talk about you as an athlete, your goals and how you've progressed and how you didn't wake up like this and what's changed for you going forward.
Well, first of all, I had awesome people to work out with.
That's huge.
So from the very beginning, some people, I'll throw some names back there too as far as how I got here, because I certainly did not get here by myself as the business or as an athlete. Allison Noonan, she trained with us for a little while and started with us with some people that have been our OGs, probably remember her. Mm-hmm. Tony came slithering in from First Street, I believe at the time. It might have been Second Street, I can't remember. Just kind of showed up with his knit hat and a grocery bag, and I'm like, who's this guy? Literally.
I love the pictures of him.
It's so awesome. And him and I just started broing out. And he became a trainer, and he'd already, I think, if I remember correctly, I think he'd already had his cert, but he had to go take the test because that's when things shifted where you had to test for level 1.
Wow.
Like, I had to go back and take a test.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin had to go back and take a test. Kevin, he's another guy that showed up, like, all weird in my gym, his outfit on.
Who just finished level 2. Congratulations,
yes,
Kev.
Congratulations. And survived the city.
Boom.
Woo-woo. So, I mean, along the way, Nikki Brazier, Nikki Gerber at the time, she...
famous CrossFit Games reporter now. She's
holla.
all fancy.
I on-ramped her. Rachel Jenkins. I mean, the list go. Holly Smith. I just think of all these people that were so wonderful and that helped coach Keenan. I feel like I'm missing Justel. I'm like, who else? Zach. We've all moved away. Jordan Buck. We've gone through a huge transition, but every single one of those people influenced me and how I trained.
Mm-hmm.
They pushed me every day. They taught me a lot about lifts, or we learned together. So that was the biggest thing, is that we always wanted to be better coaches, better lifters, better runners, better whatever.
Right.
And so we'd always do that together. Carl was always the toasted bar king. Jordan, would run fast or whatever, it could be. So we just made a really, really good team. And as you remember, when you came into that, you're like, oh man, these peeps are tight. Who are these crazy freaks?
I'll never forget my first day walking into so I started CrossFit on my own like you. My first day walking into a CrossFit gym ever was your gym, and I remember walking through the doors and Nikki was doing snatches or something, and I just remember like walking in and just like being like, holy shit, these people are awesome. And like looking up to you guys, and that was crazy. And
little did we know, we were just like, hey, this guy moves really well. You could lift, you were explosive. I remember that. And so, so cool that you've joined the team, over these years as people have come and now look at us. And, now we have Tiffany and, all these, James and I don't know, and Sherry. And
right.
So it's Karen. Man, the list goes on. So many good people.
Anyway,
yeah. So here
we
are.
Kind of goes to show that it's not necessarily what you're doing, but who you're doing it with, and how you're doing it.
Oh my
gosh.
Important.
We talked about that yesterday. How we kind of all trained together. We snagged Sarah and Billy.
Yeah, and that was fun.
Just had a little lifting session, and I think that was everything. I don't definitely think I would have lifted quite as well if it wasn't for the energy and the cheers. And
the vibe was awesome yesterday.
Watching Derek be all snappy, and Tiffany.
I know, Derek uses hips.
Yeah.
What?
So that's awesome.
Yep.
So kind of leading to 2015, fittest woman in Maine. I know you don't like to talk about it, but it's pretty freaking cool. And so you talk about people help you to lead to that point. What else do you think led you to being 96th in the Northeast, first in Maine. It was the people.
It was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
It was, poor Carl. Jesus. I mean, I was a crazy lady, you know, between trying to make sure my food was good, to make sure that I was training. I'd work 24-hour shifts and get punched in the face and sure as shit, I'd open up my training and Justin Wright, hey Justin, would have programmed a double day. And I'm like, I hate my life.
Yeah.
But anytime that I got down to doing the work, just like anything, it's just like waking up at 5 a.m. to go work out, you know, you only regret the days you don't put the work in. You only regret the days that you don't wake up or you sleep in. You never regret the days that you get your ass out of bed and come in and train, because then you feel spectacular. And you never regret a double day, because at the end of the day you go, holy crap, I did my best today and I put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a lot. It was a huge commitment. Totally worth it. And
Totally worth
completely unexpected. To piggyback, and this might be something that you don't know about this too, is that my goal wasn't to win fittest in Maine. That didn't exist. They didn't even have a thing. They didn't have a t-shirt. They never used to broadcast like, oh, fittest in your state. It was never a thing. So my goal was, I want to make it to regionals. I want to be on that floor. I don't care if I'm the last person. What was it like? Yeah. What was the number? I don't remember.
I think back then it was like...
I thought it was like 60.
You're right.
I think it was 60.
Oh, yeah, because it was only the Northeast. Correct. There was no Canada.
There was none
60.
of that shit.
So it was a little more attainable.
Correct. So it was super attainable.
Yeah.
Like, 100, if you would have taken those people out, I would have made it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that got announced, I don't remember when, maybe December.
I think it was the next year, the next
prior
year.
To the open.
Exactly.
Right. It was like right prior. So I had been training. Nose to the ground, friggin' pounding everything. I was so stoked, so focused. And that announcement came out, and it was like somebody took the wind out of my sails. Because I had a goal, and it was attainable.
Yeah.
And it was there. And then they brought in all the New York and the Boston. So now I'm competing with Heather Bergeron. Katrin.
Yeah,
Hello.
she moved here. Yeah, Canada, all of Canada
East, which was Camille at the time. So even though I was trying to stay positive, I'm like, okay, this is not going to happen.
Did you find yourself shifting
completely
gears a little bit?
2 weeks, almost like my training sucked. Kind of being wallowing in, just really bummed that I'd worked that hard for something that, honest to God, I'm a realist. The girls that make it, they're not flying in an airplane one day, coming in and doing a workout. They're not working 24-hour shifts, maybe have a fire, maybe not, maybe chase the ambulance all night long.
Yeah.
And trying to run a gym. It's just, I'm a realist. I understand that those girls get to do nothing but train. So it was really hard for me. I remember talking to Tony about it, and Carl, obviously, but just this really sucks. I don't know what to do. Talked to my coach about it. And then we just rallied. And then we just decided that if I could break the top 100, that would be such a cool thing with all those names that I just mentioned in still that category.
Yeah.
And how hard that would still be, but that he kind of redirected me and helped me go, okay, let's break the top 100. So, okay. And then even throughout the whole Open, knowing that there was now a Maine's fittest opportunity, it was never my goal. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Every week I'd check my stats and I'd be like, I can't look like Carl. And I don't think I finished first on any of them, if I remember correctly. But I was just consistent. And I remember standing in front of the stove in our old house when Carl was looking at the app, or maybe I was, and I think he just said, hey babe, you just did it. You literally, I'm like, no way. And he's like, yeah, do the math. And so he had already did the math as far as my position and stuff like that. Yeah. And I was like, holy crap, that's kind of cool.
So cool.
So, yeah, and then I ended up watching it shake down too, and like you said, 96. So that's how that worked out. So a lot of work.
Totally worth it.
Worth it. Oh, absolutely. So, yeah.
Can never be taken away.
No,
it's there.
And I was at the top of my age category, which was,
boom.
At the end of the day, it was kind of funny how things shift that way. And you're like, man, some of these chicks I'm competing against are 20 years old. You know what I mean? That don't even feel the pain that I feel.
Yeah, they don't understand.
They don't get it. So that's kind of cool because,
Yeah, and that's what I love about the Open, because it never ends. There's always something, and it's not lesser. We talked about that. Tiffany talked about that last time, about how goals can change, but at the end of the day, you're still putting in the work every day and loving it.
Yeah.
Very cool. That being said, so first in Maine, okay, I hear a lot about people. We all have this mindset that if we only looked like this, or if we only made it to regionals, we wouldn't have any issues, with confidence. If I only had Katrin's abs, I wouldn't be worried about anything. I want to hear your perspective on food, body image, coming from someone that was at one point fittest in Maine, and then third fittest in Maine, and then still kicking it at the top of the leaderboard all the time. Do you feel like you're perfect, that you don't have to do anything more, that you've reached it, it's over?
you already know this.
You are fit. We talk about this a lot.
A lot.
But I think I really want you to talk about this because I think this is super important because this mindset that you reach this finish line, you hit first, and then it's over, and that it's not, and that we're all human. You willing to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
First of all, I get the lady struggles in here all the time as far as they wish they were this, or they wish that they were that. Granted, I am blessed with my dad's arms, so I can put pretty good mass on if I want to. Yeah. But on the other end, I know that some people look at me and almost turn up their nose at my arms. Think I'm very masculine or manly, and it doesn't bother me. I've learned to be okay with it, and I think that as the world shifts with strong is beautiful, I think it's more okay. But I mean, it's still sometimes a topic of conversation for me to go into the store, and I know that might sound sometimes, depending on how people look at me, it makes me feel really good, but I almost feel the opposite sometimes when I can imagine, I can kind of empathize with how larger women feel that might feel that people are looking at them in a bad way, looking down their nose at them, because I feel that we've shifted and that now people who are fit are almost sometimes looked down their nose upon, because they expect that we're snobs, or they expect that we don't care anything about our training, or that I feel like we get labeled, that that the other feels that we feel that we're better than them before we even get an opportunity to say anything. So I feel like I get super self-conscious walking around. You can ask Carl sometimes, if we're going to go out to dinner, I won't want to wear a tank top or something, because I might feel like, that's going to cause too much distractions, if you will. And then I'll go the opposite and go, who cares?
Right.
I freaking work hard for these damn arms. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a constant battle daily. I mean, with my legs, to my butt, to my abs, to I wake up in the morning and I literally, that's the first thing I look at is how lean I'm at. And I know I shouldn't, but I do measure my fitness and my level of health by what my abs look like. But I know that's completely wrong.
Right.
So it's a constant battle within myself of, it's okay, Mel. You didn't lose your fitness overnight just because you're a little fluffy. You know what I mean? Because holy crap, you decided to have, a glass of whiskey with Carl on the deck before the sun went down.
Right. So there's more important things than the abs.
Now balance, absolutely. So instead, then I'll punish myself and be mad that I did that. So I'll feel like I need to work out extra, or maybe not eat as much the next day to try to get that leanness down, when all I'm doing is robbing my strength, robbing my engine, and all I have to do is just stay dialed in and know that, again, I'm not losing my fitness. It's okay if you can't see all 6 of my abs one day. It's a battle. Right. It's a battle. Yeah.
Your self-worth is more than how you look in the mirror then.
It is, and I try to tell myself that. But if you think I don't battle that, I mean, you're wrong.
Every day.
I mean, so what helps me battle that is the people in here.
Right.
Just watching them and their struggles and how they overcome things, and then, the more you learn about yourself, we're talking with you, we're talking with Tiffany, basically some days slapping me upside the head, or Carl just rolling his eyes at me and being like, you're ridiculous. Yeah. But even though I know that you guys, think I'm strong and look good and all this other things. Like at the end of the day, it matters how I feel. So that's the part that I struggle with, and that's the part that I think that makes me understand with the average person in here that I know that, I mean, like, I get it. Like, I know that I can tell you that you look fantastic 1,000 times, but until you believe it, it's not, it means virtually nothing.
Right.
So
what can people focus on besides how they look to make them feel that? You know, what do you look at? I know, like, for me, you know, currently right now, it might be my spot on the leaderboard, regardless if that's like good or bad. You know, that's where my head's at. And then as you transition, what could be something that you look at instead of your image in the mirror that gives you that feeling of confidence or pride?
I'm kind of going through this right now, so it's been good for me, and you've probably heard me say these words. I'm a little heavier, quote unquote. Literally, we're talking like 2 to 3 pounds, which is ridiculous. Okay, at the end of the day, than I normally am. So I'm but damn, does my barbell feel good?
Yeah, that's cool.
My barbell feels good. I do feel it on the pulling, but so I'm focused on that. I'm just like, you know what? I'm strong. I feel good.
Right.
I'm doing way better on the bike because I'm feel like my engine is fueled and it's been fueled properly. So that's what I'm trying to focus on is the good and not come in here and be mad at myself because I, can't go as fast and, can't keep up with you on those burpees like yesterday. But at the end of the day, if I feel good about it, I'm just trying to find the win. I'm trying to go, yep, okay, I still need to get better at those chest to bars, but hey, my barbell cycling was really good today and I feel like my form was good and I wasn't on my toes and that's what I'm trying to do right now because as my training shifts, being a little older, which is, I'm not done yet. Yeah, I'm not done yet. I can still hit PRs. I can still do all that stuff. But I'm trying to realize, know that the things that my body can do is amazing. Like snatching 155, clean and jerking 200 pounds on an average day, right. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and there it is right there.
So, I mean, that's cool. So, okay, so what, I am not, like, the leanest person in the world, but, I feel good. I feel good, and my body can do some pretty cool things.
And what I don't think people realize is that they're hearing you say this, and they're probably like, yeah, Mel, okay, yeah, okay. And the way they look at you is the way we look at them, and I don't think they realize that.
I know.
Like, because we, especially Tiffany, you, myself, like when you on-ramp someone or you watch them in their first class and then watch them 2 years later, a year later, 6 months later, and the things they can do, like do an overhead squat and make it look beautiful or crush it on the bike or their splits on the rower, they may not see it. They see themselves every day, but we see it, and we think they're freaking amazing. Yep. And so I think that's huge when you hear someone that's super like self-conscious in here thinking that everyone else is looking at them. They're all in their own heads anyway, right? And if you think that coaches are judging you, it's the opposite.
It's so far from it. It's so far from it. Yeah. So, having good training buddies, and just having fun. Whenever the fun is pulled out of anything that we do, whether you and I are more in business mode or, Derek and I are thinking about a flight that we have to go to or deploy or, whatever. I mean, it does takes the fun out of it, which then takes the drive out of it, which then is really easy for your nutrition to be off, your everything to be off. So I find that the better my sessions go, the more fun my sessions are, and the better I feel, it also just makes me want to eat better. Because, like, everything just feels good. And that good nutrition makes that feel. So it's like a constant circle that feeds itself. That, okay, training's fun. And then I feel good about myself. And then I leave for the day and know that I ate well. Oh, I'm going to go home and eat good. And then tomorrow, training's going to be fun again. So it's like this constant. It's really easy. It's much easier to stay in that circle than it is when training's not fun. You're pulling teeth to get into the gym. Then you're just like, screw it. I'm going to eat this, whatever. Then you don't sleep good, and then your training sucks again, and then you eat like crap again, and then it's a constant. So if you can stay on the side of the fun, it fuels me personally. It fuels me to eat better, sleep better, and everything, because then everything is just easier. Life is easier.
Yeah. You kind of talked about food a little bit. And something you not necessarily mentioned when you were talking about the reason why you succeeded and you got where you were on the podium. Tell me about the couple of things that you've tried and what you found is the most successful for you now, because I know you're kind of dialing in a little bit with the food.
A lot of people would just recognize it as RP. It's RP / Whole30. So it's basically fueling my body with good food, carbs, around my pre-training, post-training, and then obviously the further you get from training, the less carbs you eat. It's pretty simple, honestly, and just eating clean meat, veggies, all that kind of stuff. That just works for me. The only thing that I have in my diet that, for the most part, that is on a daily basis would be the oatmeal, the cream of rice, and maybe some regular rice. But for the most part, sweet potato. For the most part, no dairy.
Yeah.
So I did one Whole30 years ago, and that really helped. Just kind of dial me, figure things out, what worked for my body.
Because everyone's very different.
Everybody's
different. Their fuel source, fat or carb, or what they might be intolerant to. So is that where you think everyone should start?
I tell everybody that. I was like, do a Whole30.
Whole30.
Because it introduces discipline, real discipline to your diet. If you can't do this for 30 days, then you're probably you're not ready or committed to be making a lifestyle change.
Right.
If you can't do that, 30 days, it's nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of people that say they're going to do it or start to do it and then fail. And it just kind of bums me out because I'm like, just do it. Just one Whole30. Yeah. It just does. It just teaches you so much. And
it's a good win, too. It's a good win.
It is. So that started me down the road. And I'll be honest with you, I look back now, I always thought I ate healthy. Mm-hmm. I didn't. I fell into the trap of America. Right. Low fat this, or, I don't know. I can just think back to man, I ate absolute garbage.
Yeah.
But I truly thought I ate okay.
Right.
So it goes to show that, education with nutrition is huge.
Yep.
And that book really does break it down.
And that book, it starts with food?
Yes.
Yep. We probably have 8 copies in the gym right now.
Oh.
I'm looking at one right now in my room.
If you
want it, come snag one.
Yes, I do. I have one in my office too. So, yeah. And I'm not perfect. No.
That goes back to fun.
Are you kidding me? Derek and I talk about this all the time. He's a sweets guy, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not. I'm fortunate. But do I want to eat the shit out of Cape Cod chips? I think you guys all know that that's my friggin' thing, right? Mm-hmm. Cape Cod chips, and I do enjoy a glass of whiskey with Carl. Sorry, guilty. Yeah. Now in the big picture, is that bad? No. Especially when I don't have it that often, So I enjoy clean food. I enjoy it. I legitimately like the way it tastes. So I'm lucky, So.
And I think that is something that's learned. It's like a skill. I think it's over time can be built. That's not going to happen with your first Whole30 necessarily, but I think it can be built, once you establish that and move on.
That actually helped me a lot, though. It cleansed my palate.
Yeah.
I had a lot of processed foods in my diet.
Fruit's a lot more sweet.
It's so sweet, right?
Once you don't have any sweets for a long time.
Everything's a little more satiating after cleansing that palate. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. I'm going to end this one like I've been ending it for the last episode at least, is at least the one thing, if not the multiple things that CrossFit has given you, or something that you would want to go back and tell Mel back at the Y, right before she did her first Filthy 50 in 58 minutes. What was she getting into, and what have you learned?
So, a couple things. One, don't be afraid of adversity, because that's what helps drive you forward. Whether it's adversity of not being able to do a pull-up, adversity of not being able to breathe after 10 burpees. CrossFit's taught me that I can always do more than I think I can, and that's with everything. That's kind of gone over into my life with just struggles in general that life just hands you. I have had to deal with a lot of death in my life in a very short amount of time, so instead of wallowing on that, I try to find the lessons of trying not to take things for granted. So it's taught me to be grateful. It's taught me to embrace adversity, because that's when we grow the most. And the biggest gift that CrossFit's giving me is the people here. And I believe it's a gift from my dad. And it's indescribable what people do here for me. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the CrossFit Bangor Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, on iTunes. Make sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook. And make sure to leave a comment if you want us to talk about anything specific on the podcast or on anything on the blog. Make sure to leave a comment, or you can send me an email at zach@crossfitbangor.com. Thanks, guys.